maybe, just maybe, giving Sheffield a glimmer of hope. Both these clubs, of course, once in Super League. Back in 1999, in those days, in fact, Gateshead did the double over Sheffield, winning 26-18 and 23 points to 6, but of course, their fortunes dipped. They were both, shall we say, merged out of Super League shortly thereafter, with Gateshead going via Hull and Sheffield via Huddersfield, but thankfully they've both come back to where they belong, if not in terms of stature, then certainly on the playing field. They're both back in action, and it's Gateshead Thunder who get us back in action in this second half, and Gavin Brown underneath the ball, but it's been knocked on, says referee James Child, and that's a relief for the Sheffield Eagles.
Well, Gateshead decided to attack Sheffield from the very kick-off of the second half. Then old Grant Edwards gets up. He's out-jumped by Dylan Nash, I feel. But it does go forward, according to the referee. Forward into the arms of his teammate, Brian Clark. Scrum down, Sheffield get the ball. And I have no doubt that Sheffield have the ability to score 20 points in this game. But whether they can prevent Gateshead from scoring, that's one of the biggest aspects for them. They'll start here now with some real intensity. Good offload. Again, Grant Edwards, who runs pound for pound. He's given value for the Eagles tonight.
That was Sam Barlow setting up that with a really good run for the Sheffield Eagles. That's what they need, something to galvanise them early in this second half. Here's Tanguy Rapati, and Rapati showing what he does best, and Rapati getting away down the right-hand side and getting the try. That's more like it from the Samoan international. He had a dreadful first half, dropped the ball a couple of times, looks out of shape, out of sorts, but he didn't there, and foot to the floor. Tanguy Rapati gets the Sheffield Eagles off to the best possible start in the second half.
Well, it was obvious there'd be some sort of response. A little bit of luck there that the ball went forward and they were given possession from the scrum. And again, it's another individual effort. He gets outside Rousseau, has too much pace then for any cover that comes across, and scores for what could be the start of a Sheffield revival.
Fourth try of the season for the Samoan international. Made his debut, in fact, for Samoa in that World Cup game in Penrith. And that is exactly what Mark Aston wanted. And Johnny Woodcock's kick for 2 from 2. Both of them were fairly straightforward. This one, a trickier one, way out on the touchline, but if he can land this, then it's going to lift the Eagles and really maybe set the alarm bells ringing for Gateshead Thunder. He's missed it, but Sheffield Eagles narrowing the gap, 31 points to 16. Gateshead without their regular fullback for the last 40 games, in actual fact. Kevin Neighbour out with a knee injury. He's talking to Ben now.
Kevin, injury is part and parcel of the game, but you don't expect to get them quite how you did.
Yeah, I had a bit of a collision with a referee on Friday. Gareth didn't know too much about it, but mistakes happen. It was just one of those things, really.
As for this game, a great first half performance from you. A couple of Sheffield tries either side of the break, though, make things interesting.
Yeah, we've learned with this league, you just can't switch off at any time. We had 80% completion in the first half. We'll just look to replicate that here again.
And what was Chris Hood saying in that dressing room?
Just a lot about not to stand off danger men like Rapati and Yerry, just to push up, put a bit of pressure on them, so their forces there, players who are passing it to them, will be a bit under pressure, really.
Thanks very much, Kevin.
Thank you very much.
Sheffield on the attack. Move! Gavin Brown. It's Woodcock, in fact, who's wrestled to the ball, wrestled to the ground. So Sheffield, their tails up.
And that's a better set of 6. 55 metres in 5 tackles. They were not doing that in the first half, Bill.
Aaron Groom fires the kick in. And across comes Thorman to gather that ball, but immediately pounced on by the pursuing Eagles.
Don't go early.
They do look as though they've been pumped up, this Sheffield side, by their coach at half-time. And I can imagine that Mark Aston, when he gives his side the round of the houses, well, he doesn't hold back.
And look how tight they are in defence. They've kicked to the corner. The Sheffield players are really getting off the line, putting pressure on the Gateshead side, challenging them to bring the ball back. That's good defence.
Move, man. Hold.
Bit of a lift there, but nothing untoward seen by the referee.
You know, I'd be tempted here to ground the ball in goal and go for goal line dropout, because they'll probably get further distance here than now. A kicked pressure. They get about the same result. Great kick there from Thorman.
And Woodcock is underneath it. Fagboran comes to give him some support, but Woodcock brings it right across the field and then finds the gap. And Woodcock has got Menzayeri on the outside, but he can't get the ball to him. He also had support on the inside from Brendan Lindsay. But the Eagles suddenly are running hot. And here is Menzayeri. He's had a quiet night so far tonight. The big PNG Sportsman of the Year as he plays the ball. Grant Edwards, Groom now. The ball out wide to Rapati. Rapati looking for a second. Has he got it? He has. The comeback is on for this Sheffield Eagles side. And Tanguy Rapati crashing over there. And 2 tries in the space of 4 minutes from the Samoan have brought Sheffield Eagles right back into this game.
Well, they were rewarded with the defence. A kick then taken by Woodcock on the 40-metre line, and he looked to show what pace he had. Getting on the outside of the opponents, pressing hard. He can't find any support play at this point, but his composure means that he gets up to play the ball. The last effort from Rapati was an individual one. This is a collective team effort. It shifted wide to him. He shows and goes and crashes over the line. Once Yerry plays the ball, Groom knows that there must be space, having split the Gateshead defence, and Rapati has the ability this time to crash through it.
Following his uncle Eva, or Ivor as he was known to Sheffield supporters in the early days, to the Sheffield club. Now Johnny Woodcock, a points machine. He recently registered his 1,000th career point. He was also the record point scorer for Doncaster in his days there. Now then, he's given that one a good chance. Oh, just fading across the face of the posts. That's a couple of misses. Gateshead 31, Sheffield Eagles 20. And this is Mark Aston down on the sidelines and just giving Aaron Groom plenty of instructions where he wants him to go.
Well, I go back to the last kick that Gateshead made, and I said perhaps it'd be better grounding the ball in goal, going to stop the match momentarily and then get a goal line dropout. They didn't have enough cover on the kick that went down. Woodcock exposed that and they scored shortly after it. Again, reward for Sheffield's effort in defence.
And what do you think Mark Aston's hoping Aaron Groom is going to come up with?
Well, if you're looking at his hand signs there, he was saying about the sucking the players in, if I can read it, sucking the players in, using your footwork, getting on the outside of men, because there's gaps there. People like Johnny Woodcock just showed then, if you've got speed, you've got skill, you've got vision, you can do things like Sam Barlow's made a big impression since he's got onto the pitch.
Barlow gets to his feet to play the ball. And Gateshead just need to get a hold of the ball themselves. They haven't managed to do that in the second half. Almost did from the restart, couldn't do so, and I don't think they've seen it since then. Lindsay puts the kick in. And Gateshead do have the ball back. And Robin Pears told to play the ball by referee James Child. Thorman.
Surrender! Stand! Hold! Go!
Here's
10 metres! Hold!
Dylan Nash. Just manages to crawl a couple of metres further forward. And the Gateshead Thunder supporters, who there might not be many in number, but they are very vocal and they've gone very quiet. Chris Parker now.
I think it would be an ideal result if Gateshead could find the sideline here, just stop the game and have a scrum set, because all the momentum is behind your opponents. We see so often in rugby league, when a team scores one try, very often the second and third will follow that, and it did for Gateshead in the first half. Sheffield have the momentum behind them, and Gateshead somehow need to stop it.
31-20 the scoreline now here at the International Stadium. Sheffield already eating into this Gateshead lead. And they must be a little bit shaky, this Gateshead side, just a little bit apprehensive. Haven't managed to hold on to a lead this season.
Move! Hold! Go!
There's the coach, Chris Hood, long way to go. Just hoping to ride out this Sheffield storm, the Gateshead Thunder side. That's the fifth tackle. And what's the kick like? Or will Aaron Groom take him on himself? No, Groom fires the kick in. Knowles has changed it down. Woodcock will get there. Woodcock tackled by Knowles, and it's Aaron Groom who gets the ball, and the referee says that's back to zero.
Well, excitement and drama here now, and Sheffield gets 6 more tackles. They need to take advantage here now. They've starved their opponents for virtually 9 minutes here of the ball. The kick is ricocheted off. Knowles tries his hardest to get to it. Woodcock's there first. Bounces then. Groom comes up with possession.
Move. Hold.
Test now for Gateshead's stamina.
This time Woodcock not allowed the freedom to run as he had earlier on.
Move.
And in the first half, Gateshead's stamina was not tested at all. They only made 69 tackles in this second half.
Great offload by Grant Edwards, gets the ball away to Traylor. Traylor looking to also get the ball away. Plays the ball and makes sure he plays the ball correctly this time, at least to the satisfaction of the referee. Snapped out of the air. Clark it is, I think. But he hasn't got the legs. But that ball snatched from the air, and Gateshead now on the attack. Well, what a let-off that was.
Massive gamble and decision in defence there to go for the interception. It was the last tackle, they were short of numbers. If you go for that, you have to come up with the ball.
Little chip ahead. They're under pressure here.
Oh, brilliant play. Third tackle kick.
Onside, offside. Ground.
Sanderson, I think, is claiming the hat-trick. Rapati was a man under pressure.
You see the kick, it's Brannigan's left foot again. All the players, in my view, clearly behind the kicker when he hits the ball. Now then, the second thing we have to check then is the grounding.
It's Stuart Sanderson who I think has got this ball down.
Rapati is the player who then attempts to defend this and prevent the try. He turns quickly. Can't see where the right winger is for Sheffield. Party's out there, they have been split, so maybe they're still in recovery mode. It comes through, Sanderson watches it, bounces favourably to him. Does he keep hold of the ball? Oh, I tell you, I don't think he does.
So close this could be to a hat-trick for...
I think he just loses the ball before it hits the ground.
Has Stuart Sanderson got the hat-trick, or is that one going to be chalked off by the video ref?
No try, knock on.
Knock on is the decision. The try is disallowed. But just a reminder for the Sheffield Eagles about the real potency of this kicking game from Brannigan.
On his foot, centre field, Matt.
Well, again, hadn't had the ball for 10 minutes. It was the first chance to score. It would have taken some pressure off them. As it is now, Sheffield hoping to continue and put a third try on the board. Edge closer, and a penalty here now for being offside will help the Eagles to do that.
Touch judge awarding that one, I think, or suggesting to James Child that that was the case. So immediately, having almost conceded a try, Sheffield Eagles are on the attack. Stuart Sanderson so close to his second hat-trick of the season. He got one in the Northern Rail against Rochdale. But now it's Sheffield. Change of direction. Matty Brooks finds Aaron Groom, and Groom almost ducks under. It was like tag, it was come and get me. And then, when they did, he was like a ghost. But they collared him. Lindsay, ball back on the inside for Woodcock. Plays the ball, Brooks. And that's good defence from Gateshead on their own try line. It was Barlow again who was looking to use his strength. So effective he was in the first half from that range. Groom, will he do what the coach wants and take him on? That's the fifth tackle. No joy from the little Fijian there. Brooks, Lindsay. They get the ball out wide. They could be in it, the corner. Are they? Thackeray has claimed the try and he's got it. Well, Sheffield Eagles, try disallowed at the other end, have come straight back up and scored another try.
Well, we saw so many tries in the first half on the last tackle from Gateshead. It's Sheffield's turn now to do it. Lindsay runs the ball, Edwards keeps it alive, he knows they can't go to ground, and Thackeray, once he takes possession, knows that he has to get over. In fact, it's not Thackeray, I beg your pardon, it's MacDonald, it's Dane MacDonald, 13. He'll be pleased here now that he's got the side. Well, what an amazing start to this second half for Sheffield.
Well, Dane McDonald just finding enough territory there to get the ball down. And 3 tries in the second half in quick succession from the Sheffield Eagles have got them right back in this game. And if Johnny Woodcock can land this one, then they're going to start thinking in terms of a magnificent fight back here. But Woodcock has missed with that one as well. But nevertheless, 31 points to 24 now, the scoreline here.
Strange as it may seem, I think Sheffield's focus now needs to be a little bit on the defence. There will be a time that Gateshead get possession. We saw them have a try disallowed just a minute ago. And having worked so hard to score these tries, the third one here since the half-time break, they have to ensure they do not allow Gateshead to put a soft one back on the board.
Well, they, of course, started the first half so well and then started to come up with the errors which Gateshead took advantage of, and they paid the price for that.
I was saying before, they've been really pressured this second half, Gateshead. In the first half, they made 69 tackles. Now, it's 14 minutes into the second half, they've made 48 tackles. So it shows that they're not controlling the ball, and Sheffield are definitely back in this game and controlling it.
Deja vu for this Gateshead Thunder side, of course, leading 20 points to 4 at Batley and then having to settle for a 20-all draw. Last time we saw them on Sky Sports. Traylor has lost that ball. Gateshead have it back. Sighs of relief from the Gateshead supporters, I'd imagine.
This is where you need to be a strong character here now if you side. Having stood behind your goalpost 3 times in 15 minutes, you need to maintain, put your hand up, carry the ball forward here for Gateshead and continue to do the things that you did so well in the first half. Cannot afford to retreat within your shell. Hope that your teammates are just going to win the game for you.
Knowles, thumping tackle on Knowles by another Castleford old boy, Grant Edwards. There is Chris Hoods, nervously watching his side, just being really tested out now, so desperate to get the first win of the season. The only side now in the Championship still looking for that first win after Toulouse Olympique got theirs. Here they go with the danger man, Dylan Nash, and Nash always looking for the offload out of the side door. On the last now, Brannigan, shape to kick. He's going to get all wrapped up here now, and it'll come to a sticky end.
Hand over on me. Wait. Release the ball. Back up.
Brannigan trying to take him on again that time.
Okay.
And Sheffield Eagles have possession.
They weren't taking any chances there. There were 7 players wrapped around him. But defence, the game is all about defence, attack. It's all an attitude. Whether you want to defend, whether you want to run harder than your opposition. You're quite right, Philip. Who's up for it the most? And when you've been defending that so long in a period of the game, in the first 15 minutes, you've got to be brave. You've got to put your hand up. You've got to get back into the ball game.
Kick and chase, 40-20 on here.
40-20.
And have they landed that one? Things just get better and better for the Sheffield Eagles.
Brilliant play from Matthew Brooks there. If you have a hooker who can get out and kick it, right-footed player, favours that side of the field, kick it down the right touchline and hope it bounces favourably for him. It's a brilliant skill, well executed, and he's hoping now from this scrum his side can go even closer to hitting that 30 points.
The coach looking a lot perkier now,
Lock in, stay.
as his side have head and feet at this scrum in a great position. Here's Lindsay now. Menzieri, we really haven't seen him take on the Gateshead Thunder defence so far. McAlpine manages to snuff out the challenge there, but here comes Bolu Fagboren, and Fagboren ducks under the first, over the try line. Gateshead are caving in, Sheffield Eagles are fighting back. Another try for the Eagles, and the gap comes down to just 3 points now. Unbelievable.
Well, you have to trace this back to the kick that Matthew Brooks made. He sensed that there was still an opportunity here. The Gateshead winger wasn't back up in this position, and Thorman was rather centre field. It was an opportunity to hit a 40-20 and then ask your teammates to come up with something special. A tiring defence allows Fagboren to duck through it, and I think with this kick they'll just be then 1 point behind on the scoreboard. Skip out of dummy half, push between 2 defenders, show that you can squeeze through that gap.
First try of the season then for Bolu Fagboren, the former Huddersfield Giant, was at Batley last season, and showing real pugnacious tenacity there to get his way through. Chris Hood, the Thunder coach, well, has seen his side really cave in early on in this second half. A rejuvenated Sheffield Eagles side who've cut the deficit to just 1 point. It was 31-12 at half-time. It is now 31-30.
Put this try from Blue Flag Bowling just straight down to sheer determination. He gets the ball, he picks it up, he goes through a fullback and a back row, keeps pumping his legs. The Gateshead defenders give up, and doesn't he look happy?
And it's still all Sheffield. Gateshead can hardly get their hands on the ball.
Who's going to hold their nerve the most? Sheffield, they've lost 4 games this year. 2 of them they've lost by 8 points, and the other 2 they've lost by 1 point. So they've been in really tight games. They know what it's like. They haven't quite got that win, but they've been there. They've been confident right up to the 80th minute. Can they be confident tonight?
Brooks, successful with one 40-20, looking for another one. It's still a good kick. That's a great kick. Well, let's go down to the sidelines, because problems for Gateshead Thunder. I think Russo will be out of action for the rest of the game. Let's get the news from Ben.
That's not certain yet, Bill, because although Russo has been struggling with this problem from the second minute of the first half, after that collision with Thackeray, he's had repeated knocks to the injury. It's a microfiber tear is the diagnosis, but amazingly, the medical staff at Gateshead not ruled out him returning to this game.
Well, Gateshead have got the ball back. Great break from Thorman. That was Russo's tackle early on, very early in the game. That's when he suffered the damage, and he's still suffering. But for the first time in this second half, the Sheffield Eagles defence is on the back foot. Now then, can Gateshead examine that Eagles defence? Well, Rapati went for the intercept, but ended up just pushing the ball out of play.
I realise now why he's out on the wing. He's actually playing on the wing. I thought he was covering earlier in the centre position. He goes for that interception. He throws the right hand. And now him and his teammates will have 6 more tackles to attempt to defend and prevent a Gateshead try.
The old 1 minute signal goes up from Rapati, and here they come. And here's Brannigan. So effective in the first half for the Gateshead Thunder side. Dylan Nash. Nash will use his strength to try and go over the top. Good tackle from Menzies Yere. They try and burrow over here. They do. And it's Knowles who'll claim the try. Michael Knowles restores Gateshead to the scoreboard.
Well, brilliant in its simplicity and so frustrating for Sheffield. I said, having worked so hard for 20 minutes, it was the soft try that they had to be aware of. And this is the softest try you can concede in rugby league. I'm taking nothing away from Michael Knowles, who knew that his side just needed 4 points. They needed somehow to trouble the scoreboard. Here's the attempted interception from Rapati. He somehow had to stop the attacking play, and that was the way he chose to do it. But he'll be disappointed here now that Brooks and Woodcock and the rest of his team cannot prevent Knowles from picking up and diving over from a metre out. It's one you have to get low to prevent, and Chris Hood knows that might be the turning point and help to win the first game of the season.
And Michael Knowles will try and convert his own try, and his goal kicking, if Gateshead do win this one, with his goal kicking could be the key to it, because he's converted 5 from 6 so far. His opposite number, Johnny Woodcock, has landed only 3 from 6. Knowles then composes himself after burrowing over for that try line. He dispenses with the grey scrum cap. And that looks good. Swinging to it, well, swinging away, say the touch judges. Knowles misses. And 35 points to 30, the scoreline.
That try is criminal. Sheffield had done everything to get back into this game. There was 3 defenders defending on the line, but what you've got to do, you've got to crouch low. You can't stand tall on your line. If you stand tall, the guy who's acting half-back will just get that ball and burrow over just as he did then.
Oh, from the restart, the ricochet has fallen kindly. And Reece Clark gathered the ball, probably at the 3rd attempt, and comes upfield with it.
What a game of rugby league here. We're having everything. Kick almost went over. 5-point lead at the moment. Reece Clark's got him into a position now. This is where Sheffield have to know Listen, if you want to win the game, we have to stop them scoring here.
Dylan Nash. Nash gets the ball away, and good defence. Great defence from Menzies Yere and Bolo Fagboren to snuff out the challenge. Robin Pears it was. Nash really didn't leave him any room to move.
Well, having made the break down the left touchline, they've shifted it wide to the right. Nash going over the sideline, throws it to Pears.
And Lindsay enjoyed that. Here's the conversion from Knowles. And touch judges waving that one away. Knowles was convinced that that one went over.
Move. Hold.
But
Hold.
it was ruled to have missed. 35-30 the scoreline. And Gateshead missing just a moment ago with that last attack.
Second. Move. Hold. Hold. Go.
Sheffield in possession. Can they just maintain this fantastic momentum that they've built up in this second half? 6 tries apiece here. This cooperative championship rarely lets you down on a Thursday night.
Movement. Hold. Go.
Here's Sam Barlow, and Barlow can take a lot of credit for at least giving Sheffield Eagles a bit of hope, because it was his try towards the end of the first half that started them scoring again. Lindsay with the kick was outside the 40, and Thorman able to gather that one, and the chase just a little bit sluggish from the Sheffield side.
They're good work in after collision. They forced him backwards.
Hold.
Then the rest of the team are set with the referee. They're pressing up hard. Brendan Lindsay into the collision early. This is what they did earlier. They contained the Gateshead side, prevented any go forward.
Go.
The offload reaches Dave Vernon. Vernon plays the ball. Thorman, little dummy and a scoop from Thorman, then he changes direction. Sheffield trying to restrict them as Johnny Scott plays the ball just inside his own half. Vernon again. Out for a long time with injury, Vernon, and they can't afford to do that.
That looks like a tired mistake to me. Sloppy pass, not a long-range one. Behind the man.
Nash holds his hand up and apologises.
It was not his fault, was it? When you look at the pass, I don't think it was well directed.
Sheffield head and feed just inside the Gateshead half, and Aaron Groom across the field again, looking for the gap and finding the gap. Groom, that is a Burrow-esque characteristic about this guy, and he's still going. He does take some stopping. And Aaron Groom has taken the Sheffield Eagles to just outside that Gateshead 20 now, and Barlow again on the charge. Barlow tries to offload. It went backwards, says the referee. Brooks picks it up.
Well, you feel there's a certain try here if they swing the ball wide to left. A few Gateshead players start to fill the holes.
They might just go for the simple, effective option, but they've lost the ball. It was Stringer who went for the power play, and Mitch Stringer grits his teeth and grimaces in frustration there.
Well, we've seen some brilliant tries, but what about a brilliant tackle there? To deny Mitch Stringer there, a metre from your line. It's a brilliant effort. Nash is one of the players involved in the collision. They do enough there to prevent him going over the line with the ball in his hands, which would have certainly given Sheffield the lead.
It was Brannigan, I think, who was in there as well. So Gateshead survived that scare. 35 points to 30, the scoreline here in a pretty amazing championship game at the International Stadium. Gateshead desperately looking for their first win of the season to move away from the bottom of the table. Of course, 2 go down from the championship. Toulouse Olympique are exempt, and here comes Brannigan again. Brannigan with Knowles in support. Knowles, has he got the legs? He hasn't. Groom with a fantastic tackle, and they've lost the ball, and Sheffield pick it up, and what an escape that was.
What a game, what a game there. Brilliant play by Brannigan. I love to see a halfback who runs straight at defenders. We've got contrasting styles. Groom has the pace to run around them. Brannigan took them on straight, found Knowles in support. Perhaps an element of panic there then. He attempted to offload the ball while surrounded.
It was a fantastic tackle from Aaron Groom, but here goes Menzies Yere, and Yere, that handoff that we saw to such good effect, but that is a great tackle from Robin Pears. He got that big PNG fist right in his face, but he clung on for dear life to make the tackle.
Hold.
But Sheffield on the attack again. On the last now. Groom drills a low kick in. Cross comes Thorman, and Thorman time to gather, and then just outflank the first line of defence and almost the second as well. And you just wonder whether 3 games in the space of a week is going to start to take its toll on this Sheffield Eagles side.
Can't see any difference, or can you, at the moment, between the two sides physically? I don't sense at the moment, when you're 5 points behind here with just over 10 minutes to go, I don't think you consider being tired here now. They're just desperate, having fought back so well, to get in front.
Come on and hold.
Jason Payne plays the ball. Brannigan lofts the ball out to McAlpine. McAlpine takes on Lindsay. Lindsay clings to him to make the tackle on the halfway line. And Brannigan, so instrumental in this Gateshead Thunder effort, drifts a good kick in. Tanguy Rapati fields the ball. He's a dangerous runner. Gateshead, aware of that, are there to meet him.
The team that's going to win this game, Bill, is the team that goes and controls the football. You're dead right, Sheffield have played, this is the 3rd game now in a week, but it's all about confidence, and if they control the football, they'll score some tries. People like Blue Flag Borden, the guys that are really, there's a Gateshead player out cold there, but guys like Blue Flag Borden, if he gets in from dummy half, helps his forwards out, because they're the guys we're really going to be feeling it, the guys in the middle of the park.
Okay.
Gateshead players hit the deck all over the place, but thankfully they all get to their feet. Dylan Nash was one of them. 4 tackles gone.
Hold.
And coming up to the last 10 minutes of this game. And Sheffield Eagles, from a position of real desperation at half-time, have given themselves a fantastic chance of winning this one. Stringer with a great offload found Woodcock, and eventually the ball meets Yere, and Menzies Yere almost away, and McAlpine again clings onto him. That's the 5th tackle. The pass is not a good one, and it's Stringer who puts a little kick in. Well, not a bad one from Big Mitch Stringer, but Gateshead able to bring it away with Thorman, and Thorman dancing and weaving takes the tackle. More injury problems for Gateshead. Ben Pro.
They're really doing it tough, Bill. Ryan McBride on the substitutes tonight. He's got a cork left thigh, the ice there applied to the injury, as you see. They've not ruled him out of the rest of the match, but they're doing it really tough out there.
Hold. Go.
Ryan McBride, one of the Australian imports, but in fact his family comes from this part of the world, from Low Fell, just up the road. That's a good kick from Brannigan. It's a good chase as well, and Rapati is under pressure from Sanderson, and Sanderson overshoots. Rapati gets away, and can he turn the tables?
Move. Hold.
Well, we're certain for a dramatic final 10 minutes to this game. Gateshead are up in their effort in defence on the back of some great kicks from Brannigan.
Go.
Have Sheffield got anything left here now?
Here's Jack Howison, the captain, leading from the front.
Hold. Go.
Lindsay now for Woodcock. Woodcock puts the brakes on, comes back across the field, and still can't find a way through the purple-shirted Thunder players.
And they're testing the full width of the field. Some good wide passes. Lindsay again now to the left-hand side.
Oh, and I think Lindsay has taken one of his players out in the process. It was Sam Barlow who's down. That kick right up in the middle of the field, and offside against the Sheffield players.
Inside the 10 metres.
Still though, plenty of time for Sheffield. The coach though, frustration for him. Big month coming up in May for the Sheffield Eagles club. They've got a big date on May the 14th when they stage a big commemoration dinner in the city of Sheffield to celebrate 25 years of the club and 10 years since they were reformed and 20 years since they won the Premiership, or won a Premiership, and so that'll be a big day. But the priority tonight is the points on offer here. At the moment, a bonus point could be the best they can hope for, but they've given themselves a real chance of taking all 3.
Go.
Dave Vernon now for the influential Luke Brannigan.
Hold. Go.
Payne plays the ball. Brannigan it is again, finds Vernon, and here's Knowles. Knowles gets the ball out wide, desperately defending their try line, the Sheffield Eagles.
Hold. Go.
Right in that corner. And again, a crossfield kick. We've seen this work once. McAlpine will challenge for this one again. McAlpine, wonderful ball inside to Parker. And Chris Parker gets the try that I think might seal this game. But what a fantastic skill from Ben McAlpine and big Chris Parker, a former Gateshead Storm player, one of the senior members of the side, was aware and on the inside to take the pass from McAlpine and get the try virtually under the posts. Surely 2 points for Michael Knowles, and maybe now just too much for the Sheffield Eagles.
Well, Sheffield are made to pay here for not attempting to contest this ball. It's a great kick from Brannigan. We've seen him have a wonderful game, but none of the Sheffield players get close enough to the ball to put McAlpine under pressure, and Parker, who's worked tirelessly in the middle of the field, just follows up inside and gratefully accepts the pass for a simple score, but such an important one here now towards the closing minutes of this match.
And Chris Parker, one of the Geordie contingent, comes from South Shields, just down the road, urges his teammates on, and now the crowd hushed as Knowles, right in front of the posts, thumps that one over the running track, and Gateshead lead by 41 points to 30, and the Sheffield Eagles now really do have to come up with something spectacular, even more spectacular after their efforts already.
Simple but effective. Mark Aston absolutely fuming there, but Chris Hood will be very happy with that. That was just a total mismatch. McAlpine, they go for a short kick-off again to get the ball back, but McAlpine against Lindsay there was no contest.
Well, they scored 2 tries in the first 4 minutes of this second half. 2 tries in the last 4 minutes of this second half would give Sheffield, if they convert them, a win. They're aware of that. Great kick by Woodcock. Drill it hard and low. Third bounce, always bounces up and over the Gateshead player.
And will that Neil Thorman drop goal prove to be critical? Could it yet prove to be critical in the last few minutes of this game? Didn't seem that of much consequence when he landed it, but the way this second half has panned out, and Brooks almost darting through.
Go. 32 off.
Good tackle from Jamie Cording it was, and then Menzies Yeri has gone without it, and Brannigan will pick it up, gives it to McAlpine, and they don't really have to do anything too outrageous now, Gateshead Thunder. They've just got to see the last 5 minutes or so out.
Well, he attempted, it was a great potential play, but the pass didn't find Fagboran. That opportunity now appears to have gone, doesn't it, as we enter the last 5 minutes. Gateshead looking to clear their own half.
Movement. Hold. Go.
Well, Gateshead heading for a double. They beat Sheffield Eagles in the Northern Rail competition earlier in the season. And if, well, this will be the 4th time already this season they'll have topped 40 points on home soil. They're prolific scorers. The only problem is they concede points as well, which does make life interesting.
It makes the games exciting. Seen some brilliant skill here. It's not been game simply because of poor defence that we've got over 70 points scored.
Play on, play on.
Great attacking play, and Sheffield won't give this up yet.
But it's going to be, unless there is a last dramatic flurry to this game.
But they only need one try. They get one try. One try. We often see back-to-back tries. Sort of one score would give them the chance to do it. Go the length of the field in the last play. There's a penalty, interference at the play of the ball. They've kicked a touch.
Cording it was who was the culprit. So Sheffield, right end of the field anyway. Here's Stringer. Nick Stringer, desperate for his Scottish ancestry to be recognised by international selectors. Then the pass from Aaron Group, and that was tiredness. That was 3 games in 7 days, I reckon. Oh dear.
Even the coach is tired.
Brendan Lindsay really couldn't take that.
You know, it's probably the most important skill in rugby league, the pass from behind the play of the ball.
Both sides keep working the 10s, play the balls.
So Gateshead Thunder now, well, it looks as though they have ridden out the storm. What a storm it was at the start of the second half, and Chris Hood and his team, well, what does Sir Alex Ferguson call it at the end of the season? I'm not sure we can repeat, but it's squeaky something time. And it must have been squeaky something time for the Gateshead Thunder side.
Surrender!
The way the Sheffield Eagles came right back at them. but they just couldn't sustain it. And Gateshead, to their credit, well, they kept their nerve. They could have panicked. They didn't, and they managed to withstand it.
If they've got to get back into this game, 3 minutes to go, you can't see the Sheffield side getting in, but they've got to hunt the mistake. They've not got to give it up. They can't afford Gateshead to score another point. If they score another point, they won't be in for the bonus point.
The kick to the corner. Back comes Tanguy Rapati. Yeah, bonus point still within sight for this Sheffield Eagles side. As Bolo Fagboran bursts through the middle. Great run from the winger. Last line of defence is Thorman, but back comes Jason Payne, and he's had an outstanding game. And they're really giving it their all to the end. I don't know what the coach said at half-time, but he certainly put the vim in them. As Howison plays the ball. Aaron Groom.
Move. Hold. Go.
But the clock now against this Sheffield Eagles side as Brooks almost tries to dart through again. The former Hull KR and York, an Oldham player, has shown well as Lindsay comes back on the inside, and Stringer denied once, but they're in under the posts, and it's Ryan Hepworth who gets his 4th try of the season. Well, do we have time? Under the posts, Woodcock surely will turn and just thump this one. The kicking tee on as quick as you like.
Although I've often wondered whether sides practice a quick goal kick, because this does happen. We were at Huddersfield a season or two ago, a similar scenario. You need to get the ball back into play as quickly as possible. 2 points on the scoreboard, and they'll have a chance here. We're going to get the most exciting last minute of a game we're going to ever possibly see here in the Cooperative Championship.
Ryan Hepworth's try, converted by Johnny Woodcock, has made it 41-36. Bolo Fagboran had a lot to do with it.
Blue Fagboran, that's what you want off your winger. You want a quick play of the ball. Well, this is just movement of hands. Jack Howison with a little neat pass again to his big guy, Mitch Stringer, who passes it on to Hepworth. But it's just players in motion around the ball carrier. Neat little pass by Mitch Stringer, but what about this for a set of 6? If there's any set of 6, you've got to promote the ball. This is the one. You want second phase rugby. You want people pushing up into the next hole. There's big Ryan Hepworth, the try scorer. Let's see what Sheffield can do this last set of 6.
We're into the last minute then here at the Thunderdome. Sheffield Eagles a converted try away from snatching this game.
It's amazing how much energy you get. The game has now got 50 seconds to go. All the players shouting, pointing directions. You've just got to keep backing up. If there's any time, Menzieri, here's the guy.
Michael Knowles, well, it's been a sterling performance from him. That tackle. Here's Stringer. Stringer and the ball via Groom. Out wide here now. It's with Trailer. And they are in the corner. They could be with Rapati. Rapati tackle into touch. Magnificent, magnificent from Thorman. What a tackle from Neil Thorman to save this game.
What work by Neil Thorman. As you thought that try was going to be in, the Sheffield players formed the scrum. You can bet your bottom dollar they're going to try and push this one. But look at this, he comes from nowhere. Bang! Get into touch. Good effort by Neil Thorman.
He saved the day. Well, it would have, if Rapati had got in the corner, the pressure would have been on Johnny Woodcock to land that conversion. But Neil Thorman made that all academic, because that was a magnificent tackle. In at full-back because of Kevin Neighbours' injury. He's only played full-back on the occasional game. You wouldn't have known it from that.
He's a brave player. He puts his body on the line, but look at this scrum. The Sheffield players getting a bit edgy. Watch for the push. They just couldn't do it.
They couldn't. Now that is it. As the clock ticks down and Gateshead Thunder breathe a sigh of relief. They sink to their knees in relief, because from a position of control at half-time, 31-12, they have weathered an almighty storm in the second half. Luke Brannigan getting a man of the match. I think your man of the match nomination, Terry.
Yeah, he was absolutely sensational. With his pinpoint kicking, he just led the side around the pitch. Everyone was talking before the game, Bill, about Aaron Groom and how much influence he'd have on the game. Luke Brannigan was not going to be outdone tonight. He just was really solid in the middle of that park. He sent his forwards going forward. I was really impressed with Dylan Nash. Normally he plays in the back row. He's playing out in the centre, but a real provider for the tries. And a guy in your picture as well, Jason Payne, the number 8. but the Gateshead side just give it their all tonight, didn't they, Bill?
They did. They got their first win of the season, did Gateshead Thunder. I think that'll move them off the bottom of the table. What an epic. Another cooperative championship epic. 7 tries apiece, and it was the goal kicking of Michael Knowles that was just as crucial, landing 6, and Sheffield Eagles only able to land 4 of theirs. And of course that drop goal from Thorman, and one of the men of the match. It must have been hard to pick a man of the match from a game like this, but Luke Brannigan got the nod, and he's with Ben now.
Luke, your first victory in the Cooperative Championship, but you had to work hard for it.
We have. We clocked off a few times, but to Sheffield's credit, they came back, they done well, and as you can see, they could have snatched it in the end, but great tackle. Neil Thorman had a blinder.
You built an impressive half-time lead, and then they really came back in that second period.
Yeah, well, I think we've got a young and inexperienced side, but you know, there's plenty of potential there. We just got to hold the ball, play a bit smarter, but that comes with experience, but we held on.
And of course, you like the Sky Sports cameras. We recorded your first points of the season, now we've got your first win.
Yeah, we needed the win. You know, we worked hard, good game plan, Chris Hood, Alan Dickinson. We stuck together as a side. There's ability there, we just got to do it week in, week out.
Look, you're tonight's man of the match. There's the champagne that goes with it. You've also got some money to give to a charity of your choice. Where's that going, please?
That'll go to the Leon Walker Foundation, and just a cheerio to everyone back in Oz.
Thanks very much, Luke. Let's bring in Neil Thorman, who made the key contribution, really. Neil, it was in the melting pot until the very end, and that tackle won you the game.
I don't know if it won us. Well, a lot of the boys did plenty of the work in the first half, and that tackle just sort of made a nice change for us to win here. But yeah, it was good to win here.
You'd beaten them in the Northern Rail Cup handsomely here. How much confidence did that give you going into the game?
We knew it would still be a tough game, as it showed second half. We stuck to our game plan. We stuck to everything that we wanted to do in the first half. We went away from it second half, and that just shows why they scored.
And one of the favourites coming up next in the championship. How much confidence does this win give you?
Oh, it helps a lot. We can only strive to keep on going. We can only better ourselves. That's what we try to do. We try to better ourselves each game, and so far we're showing it by winning.
Thanks very much, Neil. Got Chris Hood with us as well. Chris, they put you through the ringer, don't they? We saw the first draw on Sky Sports, and this is another nail biter.
They do, and well, you can't say we don't give you a game every time you come. The first half, I was over the moon with the boys. First half, it was fantastic, but then they sort of put us through the mill for the best part of half an hour. But I'm happy that the lads sort of, you know, Sheffield threw some punches that's exactly what we're expecting. But I'm glad that the lads were able to sort of take it on the chin and were able to react. And yeah, a lot of it was sort of last ditch efforts towards the end, but we've come up with it, and I'm glad we've got that first one. We can build on that now.
And talking of last-ditch efforts, what about the tackle from Neil Thorne?
I couldn't quite see it. Everybody was in my way. That's what the reason that we put Neil there. We obviously lost Kevin through the weekend, and there was a few sort of raised eyebrows at the fact that we put Neil Thorman there. But that's why he's quick. You know, he's clever. He reads play really well, and that's why he's a fantastic halfback as well. So it was no qualms to me to put him in there. He played fantastic. But from 1 to 17, I thought for large periods of game the boys played well. We've just got to go that step further now.
Thanks so much, Chris. Well done.
Thank you.
A mighty relieved Chris Hood then, the Gateshead Thunder coach, and really you get your first win of the season, but they really do make it a nail-biting effort, and there is confirmation of that. 41 points to 36, 7 tries apiece, and it was the goal kicking that was pretty crucial, and Johnny Woodcock had tricky ones, and Michael Knowles had some tricky ones as well, but he landed his, and confirmation that victory does push Gateshead Thunder up the table at the expense of Toulouse Olympique and the Batley Bulldogs. Of course, Toulouse exempt from relegation, and Batley Bulldogs having a tough time at the moment. So a good night all round for the Gateshead Thunder, not so for the Sheffield Eagles. Frustrating night for them, and no doubt for their coach Mark Aston, who's with Ben.
Mark, you've lost the game, but on a positive note, the comeback must have pleased you.
Yeah, we showed a lot of character, obviously. You know, the game was basically, you thought it would have wrapped up at half-time, and obviously we're disappointed with this first 40 minutes showing, but the boys stuck in there, and in the second half they showed what they're capable of, and you know, right to the last minute, and you know, credit to them because we've had a tough week. 3 games in 7 days is tough on anybody, and some of them boys have backed up from Monday, and credit them, but we need to be a little bit better than we have been tonight as well.
I was going to say those 3 games. Those 3 games in a week. Of course, Gateshead didn't play Easter Monday. On a game like that, how much of a factor do you think tiredness became towards the end?
Well, looking at the last 40 minutes, you wouldn't have thought we'd played 3 games in a week, would you? But yeah, there's a factor there. But we're just dumb at times today. We scored a nice try early on, and then we started flicking the ball anywhere and everywhere, and that came back and smacked us in the chops. You've got to be better. You've got to be disciplined. You've got to be professional, and just do what puts you in the good positions. And we went away from it today.
Thanks very much, Mark.
Thanks.
So the Sheffield Eagles coach having to accept defeat, but it was a magnificent response to whatever it was he said at half-time, because they were side transformed, weren't they, when they came out after the break?
Great entertainment. I think we all knew there was going to be some sort of a reaction after the way they played in the first half, and it was wonderful just how they responded so quickly. I thought Tanguy Partey certainly injected himself into the game and knew that when he got the ball he had to show what he had, and he did that. Got on the outside of Rousseau, accelerated away for the line, and that first score inside the first minute really of the second half was a great individual effort. Here's one where his teammates are involved. Brilliant passing, transfer the ball from the centre of the field out wide to the right, and he scored his second on 44 minutes. Now here was an effort, a no try. Brannigan kicks it through, and Sanderson goes close, but doesn't quite manage to ground the ball. But just less than a minute after that, on the 5th tackle, when they ran the ball, Sheffield showed that they were able to keep the ball alive, and Thackeray's try had many of the Gateshead supporters starting to get a little concerned. Here, after a 40-20 kick, Fagborum burst through a couple of tired defenders, and at this point in time they were just 1 point behind. But we said the danger was a soft try that the Sheffield side could concede, and they did that. Knowles scored. That, to me, was the most important part of the second half. Here's Brannigan's kick. Teams that can play with this skill deserve to score tries. Great kick, taken by McAlpine and converted to 6 more points by Parker. Hepworth then kept Sheffield's hopes alive till the very last minute. They turned the ball back onto the inside, and he scored underneath the post. Quick kick-off, we still had 2 minutes to go, but Thorman's tackle on Rapati, right in the death of the game, just kept the win for Gateshead. And again, we've had 77 points scored here tonight, and an absolute classic game of rugby league.
Well, maybe, but not if you're a Sheffield Eagles supporter, who again will be frustrated. Frustration continues for them. They lost over Easter. They're both their games. They've lost here tonight. Terry O'Connor's gone downstairs now. And Terry, they've got all these changes. They brought in these big-name players like Aaron Groom and Menzies Yere, who obviously have got class. But it's obviously, equally obviously, going to take time for it all to settle down for them.
I tell you what, Bill, they've come from the sunnier side of the world, because it's absolutely freezing down here, and it'll be a big shock to their system, but they have backed up in 3 games in 7 days. It was a real big effort. You looked at the lads before when they were cooling down, and mate, they were absolutely devastated by the fact that the first half, the game was well and truly over in that first half. They give themselves every opportunity to get back into that game, and that shows what a real good side the Sheffield side are. In the 4 losses that they've had, I said it in commentary, they've only been by 8 points, was the biggest margin of defeat that they've had. But credit Gateshead, they come out here, they played well. They had Brannigan, Jason Payne in the front row. They really took it to him. And McAlpine was always the go-to guy. Whenever they were kicking the ball, he was the guy that they looked to. And it was just a great... Chris Hood, I'll be very, very happy. I've seen him talk to him, and he said it was a fantastic effort from the guys.
And then he'll think, we've conceded big points again at home. I mean, it's the 4th time this season that Gateshead have scored over 40 points at home. But every time, they do it the tough way. I mean, the defence, obviously, is going to take a little bit of seeing to.
I would have to imagine they've spent a large part of their pre-season preparing to attack well, because the way they pass the ball, the catching and the kicking skills are excellent. They're as good as any side that you'll see play. I guess now for the remainder of the season, and certainly the next month's session focus will be on defence, both individually, although they weren't missing one-on-one tackles. It was sort of Sheffield's good play, keeping the ball alive. So containing the offload will be, I guess, a focus for the next few weeks, and trying to prevent their opponents from scoring on that manner.
Well, they lived dangerously, but Gateshead Thunder have come